Introduce yourself.
I'm Gabriel Rueda from Argentina, and it's my third time in UTMB.
Third time at the UTMB. You've done the UTMB 3 times, but you've done the TDS
Twice?
So you've done the TDS twice, and this is your third at the UTMB. How did you do in your last UTMB?
In my last UTMB, I think it was like my perfect race because I break 22 hours, and it's quite hard to break that time, and especially for people from South America, which now I am living in Europe, but living there is, I think 5 years ago it was like impossible to break this time.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I
now
think 5 years ago, 22 was probably the record, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, because many times I could be on the podium with this time, but trail running is changing a lot in the last year, and many new.
So last year you had a great run, your best ever. And how are you planning to improve on that this year? What's your big objective?
My big objective is just to improve a little bit, improve trying to run like in a good mood most of the race. The last year it was quite hard after Courmayeur. Between Courmayeur and Grand Col Ferret is a tricky one, not for me, just for everyone, because I remember Jim Wesley broke in 1 year, Kilian as well. So between 4 to 5 a.m. it's really hard in ultra trail. I think many of you know that in this period is when you decrease your speed, you are like in your lowest point, in your pain cave, and I would like this year to avoid this.
Okay, so I mean, without giving away your secrets, how do you transition through the pain cave? Because everybody has a method or a theory, or what's your idea on how to?
I think for me it's comparing with where I came from, or remembering in that when I am in that moment. I try to remember when I was a kid and living in the forest and having anything, and compared with that, it's like, I am not so bad. I am doing the best race in the world, having my assistant in a few kilometers, having food. I am doing this just for fun, or just because I want. It's not like nobody was like forcing me to do this kind of races. So I lived many others moments where it was really hard, and now it's fine. So trying to focus my mind on that direction, it's better to say, okay, let's go, even if I am going to slowly. It's keep going, moving forward, and
So last year, you were running really strong with some of the sort of big name guys. Was that a new experience for you?
I think it was new to share with Hannes Namberger or Thibaut Garrivier or Jean-Philippe from Switzerland. This guy, I followed them for many years on social media, and in my last UTMB from Notre Dame de la Gorge, which is kilometer 32, 35, to Courmayeur, we ran together. It was a new experience to try to see them and how they approach many different climbs or many slopes. They change really fast from going trekking in power hiking mode to run, and they change in a way that it's so easy. So in that moment, my strategy was to follow them, to try to do whatever they do, and it was really nice because I arrived in Courmayeur in 9 hours 5 minutes, which was so fast for me. So it was better than I expected, and I was sharing the aid station in Courmayeur with Pau Capel, with Miguel Heras, with many of these superstars, and I was maybe I am in a good position.
Yeah, it's cool. So from the lessons you learned on last year's race, how did you change your training to try and improve this year's race? What did you add?
I tried to do longest route on the course, because the last year I just did one from we shared the first part from Les Houches to Courmayeur during the night, going like more in the race pace, and I just did one, and I think it gave me so much confidence for my race. So this year I tried to do like many of these, trying to push a little bit harder, which was different from my first UTMB, where I just do the record, but so slow. I think I took like 9 hours to do 40 kilometers. And now I was, okay, if it's 40, I am going to do in 5 hours 30 or something like that. And I think I hope it will help me a lot during this race. Because in training condition, it's like not just an easy...
Well, there's no pressure either, is there, in training?
Yeah, exactly.
There's less pressure.
Exactly.
So things like diet and nutrition, do you sort of experience the same issues as several other runners, or do you have a way of dealing with this that suits your body, or what's your secret? Because you seem to eat really consistently and really well, and you never really seem to see any gastrointestinal issues.
Yeah, I fight with GI problem. I think from my first ultra running from 80k, 100k, and I was changing a lot. At the beginning, I tried to eat so much solid food, and it was impossible after 8 hours, 10 hours. It's impossible for me at least, to eat like sandwiches or strong bars, because after 8 hours, your mouth is quite hard to chewy, and
sure.
so I started, I think from 2022, I started to use like 50% in liquid carbs. So trying to mix in water some mountain carbs or many other brands. There are many, but I proved many of these brands to see which one is better tested for me. And I am incorporating like 40 to 50 grams per hour in liquid carbs, and the rest with gels or fruits or many other stuff. But I changed it to this way to move more to liquid carbs, because it was easy after 10 hours to continue drinking, to continue incorporate carbs, because without energy, it's you don't go so far.
For sure, yeah. So when you think about the whole course, you think about last year's race, and you think about the year before, and you're looking forward to this year's race, what are the bits that you're excited about? Which bits do you get anxious about? Is there any specific areas that you really look forward to or really don't look forward to?
Oof, it's a good one. I think the race until Le Contamine, it's more to see many people during the race. It's more like, okay, like not high pace, but trying to not. It's like every corner you have people who are like, wah, and it's like, wah, experience this kind of. It's unique here in UTMB to feel like an star, because it's from the start line to, I think, the first 4 kilometers. It's like a channel with people shouting so hard in your hair. It's impossible to not run slow. It's like, okay, I need to run fast. But after Le Contamine, it's so different, because you enter to refuge La Balme, Col du Bonheur, and there's nobody there because it's hard to climb to that part, and it's not easy.
Plus
and
it's the night as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It is in the night. So I think the race for yourself start in Notre Dame, where it's the show is over.
Yeah.
Now it's you, the mountain, and the pace. So it changed a lot from Le Contamine to Courmayeur, because it's the night. It started getting colder, but until Courmayeur, I every year I could maintain like my strategy about nutrition, about pace, about timing. After Courmayeur, it's like, okay, more in survival mode, or more in, depends on how it's my feeling on Courmayeur, I will approach the next part of the race.
Yeah.
So I used to plan just until Courmayeur, because I can maintain my strategy. But after that is, keep going on this ingestion, maybe 60, 80 grams per carb, and if I am okay, but not worrying much about, okay, I am not on my time. No, I forgot about my planning.
Okay.
And I think after Champagne, the race changed a lot as well for me, because it's more on after 9 a.m., 10 a.m. So,
yeah, sure.
And after Champagne, you feel like there are not much changing about position. It's hard to gain one or even to lose. But you need to be like with legs on Champagne, because there is still like a marathon to the finish.
Yeah, for sure. There's 2 points in there that we'll come back to. The first one, I know a lot of runners, myself included, we sometimes run in a race and we hit that survival mode.
Yeah.
And all we can think about is, I just want to get to the finish. I don't care about the condition. I don't care about the time. I just want to survive, barely just to across the line. How do you deal with that?
I think my last UTMB, I felt good in that moment, because in my first UTMB in 2022, I was 30 overall and going to run under 24 hours, which was a record in that moment for my country. So I felt good, because I said, okay, I am doing well, even if after Champagne I suffered a lot in that edition. But I was comfortable with the position, with the time. I was getting like the positive aspect.
Yeah.
So many people told me that, you are in top 30 and going under 24 hours. So I was like, okay, good. So focus on the positive aspect. I think it's good to keep going.
Yeah, okay.
To not allow to your mind to say, oh, it's a shit, I felt so bad.
Yeah.
And the last year in Champagne, I was starting again to say, okay, it's hard, my legs are heavy now. But at the same time, I was 15, so I say, I am 15, I am close to the top 10. Maybe in some moment I was 12. So I was like, okay, 2 positions for top 10. Maybe. But I started having a pain on my ankle, so I was like, okay, keep going, but not forcing so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think like focusing on your positive aspect, it's good to keep going and not to allow your mind to see like, because there are negatives and positives, but
absolutely.
Just focusing on that part is like the best.
Yeah. So when you look for a positive, how big of an impact do you think seeing your friends or crew or people cheering, just random strangers sort of wishing you well, how big of an impact do you feel that has on you personally?
No, I think seeing friends, it's so helpful, and I took this topic with my coach many times, because I feel it, and arriving to 3 a.m. to Valorshir, you feel like 30 minutes ago, okay, I know that in this station I have some friends and specific friends, and for that reason I try to use these different friends for different positions. Because I think it's not like too important to say, okay, I need my gel so quickly, or I need to change like in 1 minute. I think it doesn't matter exactly if you use 1 minute or 2, but knowing that in that part it will be like these specific friends who I share many moments, and it helped me a lot in my mind. So it's not about how fast you are receiving your assistance. For mental, it's more about this connection with this friend. I remember when I met you before La Flégère. I think for sure, 100%. If you were not there, I will climb to La Flégère so slowly, because I was feeling so shit. And I remember some videos that you took me, and I tried to run in some sections. So I changed it from run, trekking, run. But maybe if you were not there, I was talking like maybe, no sé, 10 minutes more, because I was just and so I think this connection with friends is powerful in ultra running.
So you would advise any of your people watching, if they have friends around to crew or to help or just to come and cheer, it's a valuable asset.
100%, and I confirmed this theory, because in my last Valhalla UTMB in Argentina, I shared the race with my mom. It was my first time like showing my mom that I like trail running, I like ultra running, and in that moment, I think I say, okay, I have just one shoot to show my mom that I am not to say, okay, I'm good doing trail running, but I really like, I try to push all my energy to perform well, and I know that for my mind it was it for her it was like, okay, I don't mind if you are 1 second or say it's the same for her. I know that, but for me it was so powerful to see, okay, in this Aita station it will be my man. So okay, let's go so fast. I want to be first there, just to say, hi mom, I am first here.
Exactly. That must have been really special for both of you.
And so I think it's powerful to have friends, family, and to have your special connection with these people. Yeah, it's so powerful. More than any else, more than having your 260 shoes or having the best equipment. During the race, it doesn't matter. No. We are all the same in the mountain, and all the most powerful thing that you have is here, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So on a similar theme, so like I have a lot of friends who get really anxious in the days and weeks even leading up to a race.
Sure.
Sort of, I have a friend and she's saying she's so nervous about this and nervous about this. What do you say to that person? To like to myself, just an amateur who's enthusiastic. How would you encourage us to calm our nerves? What would you say to people who's helped you in the past?
Yeah, I think it passed to me as well in my first races, but after many ultras, it was like, okay, it's important to perform well for ourselves, for our friends, but more for ourselves in most of the cases. And we push a lot of pressure in ourselves many times, in excessive way. And I think this kind of race is just races, and for fun, nobody are gonna pay. Well, maybe if I am in the top 10, maybe I am gonna to receive some bonus, some prize, but we are not running for prizes or for position. I think from my point of view, it's more, we run more for experience to see how our mind and our body work, especially in the moment when the things went to the hard direction.
To the limit,
Yeah, exactly. I think, and I think Courtney Walter used many times this kind of, okay, when I am like in the pain cave, that's the moment when I am going to know for myself, or I am going to talk with myself in a hard way, and it's not easy in the normal life to have this moment. It's hard to get this. So I think we are like we have a fortune to have this opportunity to see how our mind and our body fight with ourselves at 4 a.m. when you are alone in a long climb, like Paso Prolañón, for example, in your case, on this like 1,500 meter climbs, and you are not going to eat well in that moment. If you are like feeling so bad, I think that's a moment when you say, okay, this is my big opportunity to see who I am. Exactly. That's the word, who I am.
Yeah.
Because there's no one in the mountain person to say, oh, okay, watching. I need to appear that I am strong.
Yeah.
No. You don't need to show like a fake face.
Exactly.
That's who I am.
Yeah, I think that ties back into what you said about the shoes. I know you were just mocking me for my shoes, but nobody would notice there if I had shoes on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody sees, and I think that's what when you do what you need to do when nobody's watching is what's important. So when you come to the UTMB, you have some hills, some climbs that you must dread, or some descents, or some points in the race that you think, I just have to grit my teeth and get past this piece. Is there any bit like that for you?
I think in UTMB there is just maybe one section close to Pirámide Calcareous before Courmayeur, where I say it's not necessary to be here, because if you see the route is like you can connect, you can do the loop, the normal Tour de Mont Blanc loop without going for the extra, and even it's more than 100 miles. So if the organization say, okay, we want a 100 mile, you can avoid this extra loop. And when I am in this section, I say, oh yeah, I don't want to do this extra loop, because anyway I am going to do the whole loop. I think that in that part is for during the race, like, oh, okay, well, but let's go and keep going and try to do. But the rest of the race, like, yeah, it's nice, because even if I do the loop many times, it's so nice to run, even in the night when you can see many things, but you see many headlamps in front, behind. It's everyone are pursuing the same dream. So it's nice. I think here in this race, it's just in that section where I say, okay, it's not like the best.
You're not the first person to say
that.
Yeah. And so when you're running UTMB, and because in my head, once I've hit the halfway point, I imagine it's all downhill. I know it's not.
Yeah.
But in my head, when I race halfway point, I know I'm counting the kilometers down at this point. At what point in the race do you say, I know I'm going to do this now? I know I'm good. Barring any injuries or anything.
Yeah. I understand. I think there is a breaking point after Champagne, because if you have something less left on your tank, yeah, you are gonna make it there are many cases where they DNF on Champagne because they couldn't get like the position. I remember, for example, I met Peter Endal the last year or maybe they are like, they are done. Pretty empty. But if you have something left, you can make it from Champagne. So there is like a breaking point, and because you are so far from the start line, so I say, okay, I did 130 kilometers. It's just 14. So in that moment, it's like, yeah, okay, I am going to finish.
Yeah.
But the real moment when you say, okay, it's almost done, I think it's maybe close to La Flèchère.
Yeah.
Or after Col de Montets, maybe in that part it's like, okay, I can see Chamonix now, because it is, well, for me it was in the day, and so I say, okay, Chamonix is there. If I am on my two, I can go to Chamonix.
Yeah. And regarding sort of difficulty, I imagine in my head at the start the climbs are more difficult than the descents. But is there a transition point for you, or does everything just get harder to the point where you are kind of in the survival mode, or because sometimes like running downhill, because in your head you say, oh, I can gain time on the downhill, but then you just run out of energy. Is there a transition for you on this?
Yeah, I think during UTMB it's a transition almost for everyone, even for the top athletes, because after Grand Col Ferret in UTMB we have like 18 kilometers downhill, and it's so easy to push maybe 5 seconds per kilometer faster. It will be like so damaging your quads. And I think in 2 years ago, when Jim pushed really hard from that part to Prade 4, which is before the climb to Champagne, he took like a gap of 12 or 15 minutes to Kilian, because he ran quickly from that part. And after that, just 1 hour after, he was he was dead in the next climb. So I think after this long descents, everyone started like, okay, now the downhill is I am paying a lot of effort. Even if you run that downhill, like, okay, saving legs.
Yeah.
Even if you go like more slow, you start feeling so hard in the downhill before Trient, the downhill to Trient, the downhill to Valorcine is the same.
Yeah.
you start, there is this changing from suffering the uphill,
Yeah.
enjoying the downhill, to suffering uphill and down.
Suffering everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel about like the sort of technical descents? Because the route change from the Tête au Vent to the Flégère, you have a bit more of a technical descent, quite close to the end, and then the descent from Flégère is quite tricky. It's not too tricky, but it's like good terrain to break your ankle.
Yeah, exactly. There are many routes, and you and at the same time you lost like the on your mind where exactly you are.
Yeah.
Because the previous edition where we went from Tête au Vent to La Flégère directly in I think at 2,000 meters, it was easy because all the time you were running like seeing Mont Blanc, seeing where is Chamonix, saying okay, I am just 4 kilometers to La Flégère and then all downhill. Now I am 2 kilometers before, but when you go down close to Argentina, exactly in this forest, you have like, okay, where exactly I am? It's 10 kilometers to La Flégère or it's 2 kilometers? Yeah, it's quite boring. It's hard for your legs. It's hard for your mind to play with these routes in the downhill. And there are many like steps. Steps with big rocks and no, the last year it was so hard. I was 12 in this part, before this part, because in Vallorcine I passed this, I think Australian guy, or I don't remember, and he passed me in this downhill where it was so tricky and my ankle was destroyed. Yeah.
So when you get to the finish, because I know I was with you a little bit after the finish, the days after.
We ran together.
There were people wanting to take photos with you in the street. What was that like for you? Because I think that kind of marked the point where you went from almost being semi-pro to being a pro.
In the middle.
How did that feel? What was that like for you?
No, I think many Argentinian people who were in the finish line, they are like, I feel like I am more like how you say, people in Argentina is so fun for trail running. Even in trail, in football, in many other sports, they are like, if you have like this level, they are like, you are the best, blah, blah, blah. But if you are from Spain, from other country, you need to be like in highest level to receive like the same cheering or the same. In Argentina, everyone like, like, so in the finish, even if I am not like super ultra mega pro, I am close to the top, I think. But for Argentinian people, like, you are like a star. And even when I was in Valcourt by UTMB, it was insane for me because I never experienced in my finish line that many people. The organization has to put a car to pick me up from the because it was impossible to get from there because I was with my mom in the finish line and everyone was like, Gabi, photo, and so the organization had put a car and I entered to the car and finally I could make it to my hotel. It was like, wow, it's new for me because in Europe
that must have been really exciting though. That must have been really exciting for you.
I think it was exciting more to finally show my mom to say, I was telling you this kind of excitement after the race, or to telling that my mom I have a good level in Argentina and many people really like how I ran or how I approach this sport, but it was impossible to show my mom what exactly I was speaking. During this race, it was like, okay, I tried to tell you this, but you never understand. I say, you're quite famous. I told you many times, but it was funny.
That is cool. No, that's really nice. You're sponsored. Obviously, you're sponsored by Colombia, and they provide sort of support for you. What do they do to help you, and how does that help you with your training leading up to the race? And who else sponsors you? Because you have a few sponsors.
I have just few sponsors. Just Lecky, who provide me staff, and we have a bonus in different, depends on the level of the race. We receive some bonus of money depending on your position, but you have to be on the podium. So and their level of races are quite hard. So it's not easy to get money support from the brand. The Colombia, yeah, I have as well like a base annual payment to support. I can decide where I can use this money,
cool.
for sure, which is good because I know many athletes who just have to pay the travel tickets and present the invoices to the brand, and they have to deal with this connection. But in my case, okay, they pay me a base yearly payment, and I can use for came here to the Alps to train, or I can use whatever I want. And then I receive as well some bonus for some races. It depends the position. But I think based on the last year, I hope to run well in this UTMB and to continue working on.
Continue working with them.
Yeah, with them, and or working with new brands who wanted to support more, because I know that it's not easy to, or it's hard work to start connecting with the new brand, knowing what the brand wants and what you, because it's not what exactly the brands can give you. I think it's a connection,
a relationship.
A relationship, and you need to show to the brand, okay, I can offer this kind of stuff, testing products, showing on social media, creating really good content, and with all this kind of stuff, you can get more.
I think it's only the top 1 or 2 people that there's a benefit to having the logo on a t-shirt, and this is it. I think everybody else needs to prove. Every dollar you spend on me is going to return $2 or $3 to you.
I think it's good because we understand as an athlete that a brand needs to sell products, but at the same time, I think we as an athlete have the opportunity to say, okay, we want to show the product, but at the same time, we are the connection from the brand to the normal athlete. So we need to see exactly if the product is good, if the product has durability, to show the true, and I think that is our part as an athlete in this sport, to say, okay, even if a brand is sending me products, we need to show exactly what they are or how they work, even if some aspect it's not good for the brand, you know.
Sure.
But I think as an athlete, it's part of us to show the true. It's a bit correct.
That's correct. No, that makes sense. So you've obviously used some of your base fund to relocate to the Alps for a brief period. How long did you spend? How did you sort of approach that? How did you move your life to come to the Alps to work here on your running?
This year I moved in second week of July, so it was like 7 weeks this year for UTMB. The last year I moved almost 2 months, which was a bit longer, but I moved to Bufor and it was hard to spend 2 months in Bufor. Bufor is a small village without connection to cities, without having like a big supermarket, so I spent a lot of money. I saved money in the apartment because it was cheaper than living here in Chamonix or Saint-Gervais. But it was hard, the supermarket, and at the same time having like a social life, it was quite boring in the end. Because for 1 or 2 weeks it's fine. But if you are like more than 1 month, it's okay. I want to spend like a pizza with a friend or talking another topic than just training. Because for 2 months it's hard to just be okay, focus on training.
I guess as well, especially because you know what you said about Argentinian people go crazy for like another Argentinian person. It's like a party. So just to turn up in Bufor, it's a beautiful place.
It's
but if there's nothing, if there's nobody to talk to, nothing to do other than look at your trainers and iron your t-shirt, it must be quite tough in its own right.
Yeah. For that reason, I moved closer to Chamonix. Chamonix is so expensive for everyone who never been there. Here, Chamonix is quite expensive. It's nice, but at the same time, during the summer, you know, there are many people. It's so crowded. You can find trails. If you are local, you can find trails where you can run alone. But many of the famous trails, they are so busy during the summer.
Absolutely.
But close to Chamonix, there is like a valley close to Passy, Le Fayet, where it's really well connected to Chamonix by train and Saint Gervais. So I chose that part. And it was good because I was so close to the UTMB course. So I was training in UTMB course like most of my training. It was, I think it will help me during the race because okay, it's like a training.
So I've got one last sort of question for the people watching, really, because you know the people watching are ordinary guys like me. I mean, I have a UTMB index of sort of 500, 550, something like this. Do you think that ordinary guys like me, ordinary girls, can do the UTMB?
Yeah, sure. I think so. With the specific preparation, or I mean with 1 or 2 months, I think for me there are like key aspects. One of them is like you need to have some experience, some ultra trail races. And when I say ultra, it's more than 100k or more than, I don't know, 20 hours race. I think it will help you if you run some of these races before UTMB, because if you are in 400 or 400 or 500 ITRA score or UTMB score, maybe you are gonna spend 38 hours, between 35 to 40 hours in UTMB, which is almost 2 days. So I think it's important to have some experience running like 20 hours race, which could be 100, 120. And another aspect I think which is important is to focus these last 2 months, 3 months before the race to change like your lifestyle, to do more, to try to at least in these 2 months to do more elevation. I know many people who believes in flat area, but there are kind of training that you can use even if in gym or moving just, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hours from your place to every 2 weeks to do some uphill session. And I think you need to change your normal style training for this UTMB the last 2 months to not suffer so much during the race. You are gonna suffer anyway. Sure.
I think about this. I see it a lot on sort of Facebook pages and forums. People latch on to the idea of the UTMB and they say, "I want to do this." There's lots of other races, of course. But I think it's such an iconic race that so many people want to do it. So I think this kind of like encouragement and advice is really good for the average person who they can run, we can run, but we're not quite sure if we can do it. So would you advise using a coach? So like you're a coach. Would you advise people in this situation to try and use a coach, or do you think it's possible to manage?
No, I think it's possible to manage yourself, but you need to study yourself. What's your strengths, your weaknesses, to work on that. And when you know exactly your strengths and weaknesses, is when you run a 100k. It doesn't to be like UTMB race. You can run a 100k on your town, your village, a really local race, just to see how your mind and your legs, your body approach this 20-hour race. And having these races, having this like input, you can work on that to prepare for a UTMB race. But at the same time, I think there are many races who are like where you can find the same experience as UTMB. Maybe UTMB has a lot of coverage, an helicopter flying the star line. So I know there is some part where everyone wants to be
Yeah,
in
sure.
UTMB, but when you are like alone in the mountains in the middle of the night where nobody is seeing you, you can experience the same here in UTMB or maybe in a local races.
Yeah, sure.
And I think where there is the moment when you really know who you are.
Yeah.
And that's like the whole that we are pursuing. Yeah.
No, that's cool. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Ben. Nice
Really wish you the best of luck in the UTMB.
Okay.
We'll see you on the trail.
See you on the trail and all the
Yeah.
best for your TDS
Well,
on
thank you.
Monday.